Good morning, dear students. Today I will be teaching this class for class 9 students and the subject is physics. This will be for all the 3 sections of class 9. Okay? The chapter which I am going to start is reflection of light. Now this chapter you have been studying from class 7, 8, but now in class 9 we'll go much more into depth. So reflection of light. Now as you already know, the reflection of light means when sunlight strikes on the surface, then the light gets reflected into the same medium. Just like in this picture over here, from the sunlight, the light gets into the surface. This line over here is the surface and it gets reflected. Now, we cannot say that all the light gets reflected. Only a amount of light gets reflected. Rest of the light will be absorbed by the surface. Some might be transmitted into the another medium, but the light which moves into the same medium is known as reflection of light. Now, over here what we can see is when light, how do we see different objects in our surroundings? Is that there are different types of objects. Some are luminous, some are non-luminous. Now what happens when there are luminous objects? Like sunlight is a luminous object. We can directly see sunlight. We don't need help of any other lights. Like moon is also luminous. But there are different objects that are non-luminous by nature. Just like over here, this tree. The tree doesn't have a light of its own. So when we have to see a tree, what we do in the darkness, if we want to see a tree, then what we do is we point some light over there. The light falls into the tree and it gets reflected into our eye. So, with the help of light, we can see the nearby objects which are there. So, over here, sunlight is falling on a tree, and from the tree, the light falls into our eye, and then we can see that tree over there. This is how we see different objects. Now, over in this slide, there are different types of reflection. One is regular, and other one is irregular reflection. Now, regular reflection happens on very smooth, shiny and polished type of surface like metals, your spoons, all those shiny materials like glass, mirror and all those things. Over here, you can see a smooth surface. This is your regular reflection. The light falls parallel and it moves the same way, it reflects the same way. But in this one, this is irregular surface or rough surface like the walls. It looks smooth, but actually it's not smooth. It's very irregular. So when light falls on a irregular surface, then light gets scattered in every possible direction. So what happens? This also has a good phenomenon. Like when in our room, how do we see things is when light falls on each and every surfaces, mostly the surfaces are irregular in shape. So when they fall onto it, the lights scatter, and with the scattered light, we can see different objects and there is brightness around in our room also. That is because of irregular reflection of light. Okay, now I'll teach you about different terms related to reflection. In this diagram, it's a simple diagram, there is a surface, incident light touches at this point. This ray which comes from the light source is known as incident ray. This point is known as point of incidence where the light strikes. Okay, and from here the light gets reflected. That ray of light is known as reflected light. In the middle we draw a line that is normal. We call it as normal because normal means perpendicular to the plane or the smooth surface. It is 90 degrees with the surface. Now angle between incident ray and normal is angle of incidence. Angle between normal and reflected ray is angle of reflection. Now this is point of incidence and this level or the surface is known as the incident surface. So there are a few terms which is there in your book also. It's there in page number 142. You can refer the definition from the book itself and note down in your notebook. In the next slide, I will teach you about laws of reflection. There are 2 laws of reflection. First one is when the light gets incident and then it gets reflected, there is an angle made over there with the normal. Okay, first is angle of incidence, other one is angle of reflection. Both the angles are always equal, whatever the surface may be it regular or irregular surface, angle I will always be equal to angle R. This is the first law of reflection. Now the second law of reflection is this ray, that is incident ray, reflected ray and normal and the point there are different types of images. Whenever light creates an image, there will be different types of images. There are mainly two types, that is real image and virtual image. Now you might be wondering what are real and what are virtual images. Now real images, here what you can see is there is an object, and when we see the image, like our eye, okay, whenever we see an object through our own eye, the image is created in our eye. That image is a real image. Now there are few natures of real image, that is, real image which forms into our eye is inverted, but our brain processes in such a way that we can see an erect image. Okay, it processes and makes it erect, but actually it is inverted by nature. Now real image is also formed by the projector. When we go and see some movies, when we watch some movies in the cinema halls, the movie which is projected on that surface is actually a real image of the projection. Virtual image, it appears behind the mirror. We cannot see those. We can see those images, like suppose we stand in front of a mirror and we see our own reflection over there. That image which is there in the mirror is the virtual image. It is formed backward by joining this dotted line over here, whereas real images can be formed by joining the incident ray itself. Okay, this is the difference of real and virtual image. I'll give you one more example. Suppose I am standing in front of a mirror, or you keep one book. Suppose this is a book. You keep this book in front of a mirror. Whatever you see in the mirror is actually the virtual image of this book. But this book I can directly see through my eye also. And whatever I am seeing through my eye, this is the real image which is imprinted on my eye. Okay, that is the difference between real and virtual. In the mirror we see virtual, in reality we see real images. Now here, in this slide I talk about lateral inversion. This you have noticed in your daily life also. Stand in front of a mirror, raise your right hand. What you see in the mirror is, looks like you are raising your left hand. It looks like that. It is a lateral inversion. Whatever is there in the left side, it kind of be seen on the right side. Okay, like that. If you hold your book, okay, if I hold this book or any book in front of the mirror, the image which is imprinted is like this. So this image is laterally inverted image, or it is also known as lateral inversion. There are applications of lateral inversion, like you might have noticed in the ambulance is written laterally inverted, so that when the ambulance is coming from the back, the cars which are moving before the ambulance, they can see the ambulance written in the straight form and they can let the ambulance pass by. That is one of the applications. Over here. Now, in this one, this is the last slide, I'll talk about the main characteristics of a plane mirror. What will be the type of images formed by a plane mirror? First one is, when you stand in front of a mirror, when there is an object in front of the mirror, the distance between you and the mirror, and image and the mirror will be the same. Over here, the distance between this candle and the mirror and image and the mirror is the same, which means the distance of image and object will be the same. The image will be virtual, okay? The image is virtual and erect. It won't be inverted, it will be an erect image. That is how plane mirror forms image. Okay, now for this one, homework. Okay, these are the characteristics. It's given in the book itself, point by point. You can note it down in your notebook. That is one of your tasks also. And other thing is, the image is also laterally inverted. Okay, the image is laterally inverted. I have given the example earlier. In this case, the image is laterally inverted. This image is formed by a plane mirror. Now, your homework. This is from exercise 7A, page number 147, question number 1 to 17. There are simple elimination questions from all the sections. You can refer your book, and this homework has to be done in your physics notebook. This is for all the 3 sections. Okay, thank you.